So, I've got my coffee here, and I'm going to be telling you my epic story. First, I'll tell you about my coffee. My mug that says, "New Mommy Needs More Coffee." And this is one of my favorite mugs. I'm not a new mommy anymore. And this mug has seen better days, which I think is only appropriate. It is chipped and stained and kind of nasty at this point, but that sounds about right. I got this mug at a baby shower that my students at Five Towns College threw me, which was a really big deal because we only had 10 days between finding out that we were going to get Lily and actually getting Lily. And in that amount of time, they managed to organize a super cool shower. This is one of the presents that I got, and I really love it. So, what I'm drinking is a butterbeer latte, and it's really amazing. I made it myself. It's probably, in all fairness, just like a salted caramel coffee or something. I made the syrup for a Harry Potter party that I had for my piano students the other day, but it's way more fun to call something a butterbeer something. So that's what this is. It's a butterbeer latte, and it's a little magic, and I kind of need that today, so here's my week. Not just my week, but my whole family's. On Monday, we were talking with Lily, who is 4.5, about how today, Friday, is picture day. And for picture day, that means we're going to have to do something about this hair. It was really a mess. She's been wearing it just out, down, not a protective style at all. And it was pretty tangled. So we're going to have to do something about this. She was pretty cooperative. Uncharacteristically cooperative. She took a bath. She let us wash her hair. She came out, and there are certain things in our family that we do well and are important to us. There are the things that we don't do as well. The apartment is a disaster, but there's a lot of dancing. Family hugs. We're very good at family hugs whenever anybody leaves. So dancing, we decided to have a dance party before we were going to work on her hair a little bit, and we were dancing to What Does the Fox Say? Because who doesn't want to dance to What Does the Fox Say? Lily is a climber, and she was climbing on top of our TV cabinet that's right over there, but I'm not going to show you because the apartment's a mess. But it's maybe 3 feet high. It's a good solid piece of furniture. She probably shouldn't have been climbing on it, but when you're doing hair, it's pick your battles time, and it's keep her happy time. So, what could it hurt, right? Famous last words. So she's on the TV cabinet, and she's dancing around, and she really, really likes that song, and was kind of doing the moves from the video, and cracking us up, and in fact, I was telling a friend that I was really exhausted, but that Lily was totally cracking me up. And that's about when she fell. So when she fell, kids fall, whatever, but she hit her arm on the wooden coffee table. And it's a pretty loud thunk, kind of upsetting sounding thunk, and she screamed immediately, and I knew from her scream that it was not just a scared thing, that it was an injured thing. I also heard the thunk. So I grabbed her right away, but didn't really want to move her too much or anything. Saw her arm, and her arm actually had a dent in it. So I didn't want her to see the dent. I didn't really want to look at the dent either, but there it was, and I'm the mommy. Ryan came running in because he heard the scream, and he recognized too that it wasn't just, it wasn't for nothing. So he came in, and I was trying to draw his attention to her arm without freaking her out. She was already yelling, "I broke my arm, I broke my arm." He looked at me, and I kind of nodded like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. He calmly tried to look at her arm and then said, "Okay, let's go to the ER." Fortunately, the ER, I can see it. I can see the word emergency right now through my window. So it's very, very close. So we've got that going for us. But Lily had just gotten out of the bathtub, so she was naked. So we had to put some pants on her, but did not put a shirt on her because I didn't know what was happening with her arm. It was pretty nasty, and I didn't want to move it too much. I had just gotten out of the bathtub, too. So everybody's trying to run around, get dressed. Ryan was in just pajama pants, and he threw on a dress shirt with his pajama pants. It was a really good look for a high-end interior designer in Greenwich, Connecticut. So we start to run around. Lily's dressed enough to go. Ryan's dressed enough to go. I'm almost dressed enough to go. And I start to really not feel well. So I sat down and turned a little green. I imagine there wasn't a mirror, but I felt like I was green. Ryan looked at me, asked me if I was okay. I told him I wasn't, but that I would meet them there, because again, it's right there. The moment they were out of the apartment, I then really threw up a lot. Between the sound and the screaming and the look of the arm and the fact that it's my daughter who I love so much, a lot of puking. Didn't actually pass out, thought I was going to pull myself together a little. Walked to the ER, which is just around the corner. By the time I got to the ER, I'm sorry, whoever's in charge of cleaning up the front of the hospital, I'm sorry. I really couldn't help it. I wish I could have waited until I got inside the hospital, but there was no waiting. And I don't know if you've ever thrown up after eating lo mein, but it's not a pleasant thing. So I'm sorry. It's probably not the worst thing that's ever happened in front of that hospital, but still, I feel badly. So then I met them at the ER, where poor Lily was just laying all covered up. She said she was cold. She probably was cold because she wasn't wearing a shirt or shoes or anything, just pants. They showed us the x-ray. It was broken. There are the 2 bones, on the inside of her wrist here, and one was really, crooked. The other one was just kind of, just a tiny little fracture. So they put a temporary cast on it, and the next day we went to the doctor to get the permanent cast and all of that. And that's where we learned how important it is to see somebody who specializes in pediatrics. The person who we saw does not, and just kind of didn't know what to do with her. There was a needle on the table when we walked in. She's a smart kid. She saw the needle. She figured out it was for her. And by the time he was ready to use that needle, she had already been thinking about it for a long time. So she told him that it wasn't going to happen. And unfortunately, that needle was Novocaine to help her with the fact that he had to put that bone into place. Because he's not specialized in pediatrics, he didn't know how to make her get this shot, how to encourage her, how to not scare her. So he just didn't give it to her, which meant that then when he put the cast on, he had to just kind of put it back into place without any Novocaine or anything. Pretty upsetting for both of us. I had tried to tell him that I hadn't handled the break very well, and he just kind of didn't respond to that, which was a little weird. I was telling him, hey, I'm trying to be mommy here and, take care of everybody, and last night I puked a lot and almost passed out. I was expecting, oh, okay, we'll get a nurse and you step outside, or it'll be fine, I'll make sure, but just nothing. Just as if I hadn't said it. It was a little weird. So when he did put the cast on then, she was pretty upset, really screaming a lot. It hurt her a lot, which I can imagine. Hiding under the chair. He wasn't really able to get the cast on the way he wanted, I guess, because I'm not a doctor. I'm not the expert. He's supposed to be. So, I don't really know what was going on with the cast, but I know that she was really upset. He wanted to get an x-ray to see, but by then he had kind of lost her. So, she has a cast now. It's purple, so we've got that going for us. She's pretty proud of her cast. Her arm is still hurting her a little bit. Unfortunately, Lily's very best favorite thing in the whole world is swimming. So we're not going to have a lot of that for a little while, for 3 to 6 weeks, I think. I did hear a rumor, though, that Coco, Lily's elf on the shelf, had an ice skating accident, and that she also has a purple cast on her arm. So when she comes, I think they'll have that in common, and that's something that Coco can report to Santa, because I heard that little girls with purple casts do really well at Christmas. Unfortunately, the people who fund Santa also have to pay for this broken arm because our family also doesn't have health insurance. Yay! This is so good. I need to take a drink. Hang on. It's really, really good. So we were through the Greenwich Hospital Clinic, and then now we make too much money, which is strange. I'm not sure where the numbers come from, but it was on a sliding scale, and we have now slid off, I guess. So it's not as if this happened years ago. It happened maybe 8 weeks ago. We found out when I tried to refill my medication. So we said, hey, we need to look into getting health insurance, and we've done a lot of the research, and it just hadn't actually signed up yet. So of course Lily broke her arm in the process. So that's a couple $1,000s that we're going to have to work on. But Christmas will take care of itself, and it'll be fine. I was a little stressed about the pictures today, not because of the cast, but because of the hair still. For those of you who are in the chocolate hair, vanilla hair world, as I am, and I've written about this a bit, there can be a lot of pressure over getting her hair in a way that people think is correct. And in fact, Monday at the hospital, we were checking out and explaining to the woman, no, we can't pay for the whole thing up front. We'll do our best. Here's how much we have right now. And during that conversation, she's an African-American woman and has hair kind of similar to Lily's, I guess. She thought that was a good time to ask us if we were going to braid her hair and explain to us that if we don't, it can get really damaged, and kind of point out how dry it was. Not appreciated, not really. We were in a fairly vulnerable situation with our child hurt and financially not sure how we were going to take care of it. Of course, the irony is that we were getting ready to do her hair. We were going to take care of it, but she broke her arm instead. So there's a lot of pressure to have her hair be good. And it's not that we don't know how to do it, it's that she doesn't care. She just doesn't care. And is extremely tender-headed and is very strong. So, last night we put a trash bag over the old cast and kind of worked on it a little bit, but I also, that's not what we're doing right now. We're taking care of her arm and her health, and maybe her hair will look crazy in her picture today. And I was kind of upset about that yesterday, and then a couple of my good friends actually pointed out that this picture today is a moment in time. It's what she looked like today. She's got a purple cast on one arm and the hospital ID bracelet on the other. And we're just going to remember that. And when it comes down to it, I'll remember why maybe her hair is a little less than perfect today. And what I was really worried about was other people's reaction to her hair. So to other people, if you could back off, that would be great. Not just me, but all the moms who are doing their best. And we're doing our best, right? So that is